Whew. Your stream ping bot gotta be gay for you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Alright, alright. Testing live, 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 live. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, base guys. We're gonna be checking out something called Dragon OS. We're gonna be looking at software-defined radio. Some cool stuff about it. Some interesting things that it can expose or listen to. Maybe some history of it too. Probably some history of it. Papers, stuff, other things. SDR is kind of interesting. I mean, there's radio waves quite literally around you all the time. You can read a lot, learn about it. It has its use cases. It could be just viewed as a hobby, I guess, like anything else. 93 hours. Look at that. Look at that uptime. HTML colors. Maybe some more i2p stuff because I think i2p is kind of cool. Maybe I can find some skits sites. Why? The funny thing is, Dragon OS is based on Lubuntu, maybe the lighter version. Oh look, Schneider and Security. look how serious he looks. Schizoid i2p. Sites use Scooby to provide basic functionality. JavaScript is disabled by default when visiting .onion i2p domains. It can email back again in the user settings. Some of the site's links could classify as not safe for work, not safe for life, obscene, offensive, dark, or disturbing. Okay, wow. URLs. Is there a list of URLs that I can get? Well, Ubuntu. Man, why are all the cool, like, weird Linux distros always based on fucking Ubuntu? Why can't they be based on something cooler like Void or Gentoo? I don't know what this is. Here's the word kid in it. Probably shouldn't. Okay. Up. Availability status. Down. Hong Kong Watch. XMR. Something with peer-to-peer. XMP is i2p. i2pp. True. Based i2p. Niley blog. Ooh, damn, that's a lot of pages. Sovereign i2p. You could do that. I know you don't want to admit it, but Florida has been proving. Man, who would go to Florida, though? It's, like, gross. It's funny that someone's hosting this just on a site. redlib.lib. I don't want an 8K TV and self-driving cars. I want 4-day work week and rent control. X-Stars. Was Hitler bad, guys? I guess you can visit Reddit via i2p, guys. This is kind of based. If you guys want to go on Reddit and just doom scroll, will videos play? Probably not. You can see the front end of Reddit and get triggered. Via i2 based, which is kind of interesting. Dragon OS is still installing. It's pretty bloated, if you ask me. They should make a stripped down version. Someone left the entire transmission in the parking lot. That's kind of funny. Man, there's a lot of retards on the internet. Unfortunate. Is the Sovereign Project? Oh, nice. The cosplaying "Don't Tread Me on Me" flag. Don't forget. Science Daily. Skank. I forget what Skank is. I think it's something to do with torrenting. If I remember right, it's something to do with torrenting. Sigma? Sigma Forum. Cool thing is i2p loads, the longer it's running. It's your name, recent activity. I want to check out Funk Whale. What up, dude? Do you think this is trolling? What's the best torrenting client for i2p? Wanted general peer-to-peer DHT thing. 500 torrents. Sigmaform RSS. Oh, okay. Crazy offer, just use instead of Qubit torrent. How to fix firewall. I think firewall isn't. I've seen people have this issue, but I don't think it's really a problem. I think I had a issue where it said firewall. I didn't really fucking match. These are. I should start my own forum called Beta Forum. That'd be pretty funny. Sovereign project. In today's world of. When are we adding and explaining computer? Oh, he's still here. Oh. Let's see. They need to know I'm human. If I come through, restart now. Hell yeah. Oh no. Damn it. This will go RSS YouTube information bugger. I guess, yeah. RSS YouTube formation bunker there, yeah. Ping roll. None. Embedded, running. I forgot I can do a message. A do 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 do. Oh, I can do custom embeds and customized bot. I could have a bot that says every time. Later, Billy. Streamlabs right after you read my last chant. Can you read repeat? See ya. Later, Billy. Thanks for joining. The Sovereign Project. In today's world of big tests and mass surveillance, individuals seek liberty, need privacy. Governments accelerate the number of new laws, always adding more. It's rare to see laws taken off the books. The effect essentially results in criminalization of everyday life. The internet is full of parasites and predators conducting surveillance on everyone. This is true. Just like companies, they can change policies that are not always for the best. The internet, to remain free, individuals need to camouflage to avoid the attack. It's hard to attack something that is undetectable. In the cyberspace, camouflage is provided via cryptographic protocols, which can enable one to act anonymously. In the cyberspace, personal identity will need to be hidden. Public key cryptography provides the ability to generate unique key pairs permissionlessly. An individual can present a public key as a digital identifier while keeping the private key hidden and safe. This provides a privileged self-sovereign identifiers. Using public key cryptography, one can mathematically prove possession of the private key of a public-private key pair by presenting the digital signature that can easily be verified by anyone. Verifiable digital signatures allow individuals to mathematically prove digital identity for authentication use cases that authenticate and can be used in most authorized use cases. The sovereign protocol authentication authorization using public key cryptography can be used to access any physical digital resource in forms of basic sovereign project resource management and verifiable credential. Interesting. That's the mission, apparently. Proof of power. The sovereign project believes that effective cybersecurity requires an investment of physical power to make cyber attacks cost prohibitive. Logic doesn't alone suffice. We need leverage physical power in the form of watts, i.e. electric power, to defend against attack. The Sovereign Project leverages the power of consumption of a proof-of-work blockchain to effectively secure resources defined with the Sovereign Protocol. Using watts at a very low cost, currently the Sovereign Protocol can leverage more than 80 megawatts hours to secure resources. While the Bitcoin blockchain currently provides significant more power potential than the Sovereign Project, decided to use the Monero blockchain because of the superior protocol features for the Sovereign Project. Requirements, camouflage, privacy, anonymity is a specific feature which we all require for effective defense. The elliptic curve subgroup of ED25519 that we learned about when we also read the Monero papers, guys, put that in the back of your brain, was another. Bottom line is the Sovereign Project looked holistically at the problem space and selected the Monero protocol. The proof of power. Feature effectively leverages the power of all the Monero miners globally and at basically no cost. As of May 18th, 2025, this represents the power of approximately 55,852,644 CPU cores, equivalent securing the Monero network. The CPU core equivalent number is based on the average CPU core being able to calculate 100 hashes per second. Attack boundaries. To prove and improve the security resources protected via the Sovereign Protocol, we offer bounties paid in Monero based to anyone who can prove they successfully compromised a Sovereign Protocol protected system. We feel the best way to measure and improve security Sovereign Protocol systems is to provide an explicit benefit of attack to financially incentive real-world attackers. Right now, the attack bounty is 19 XMR. Obviously, take this with a grain of salt. You never know. Somebody could lie. PAM authentication using the elliptic curve digital signatures. Sovereign Project verifiable credentials. Sovereign Authbot to describe a convenient personal assistant that automates key management and digital signatures. Library. The Sovereign Authbot. Contact. Interesting. So it seems like this is more of a project than anything, which is cool because then Oh, website unreachable. Maybe the news is over. Interesting. Very cool. Propaganda. Free chat, i2p. Oh, damn it. Oops. Might have fucked that one up. Moomy? That's a good question. Direct password i2p. What's this? Actually, oh. A secure. See, guys? You can make secure passwords. It generates secure passwords, and the generator itself is secure. You know a bit more about secure password generators? Oh, if you have a question, is it open source? The secure password generator deserves its name of a secure password twice. Name of its secure twice. Okay, we're good. Based on the ISAAC, a cryptographically secure pseudo-random number generator and stream cipher. Second, many online password generators are client-side programming written in JavaScript. Boo! Which is a breach in your computer security if the author is malicious. Our secure password generator is completely server-side, and this site, or at least the Tor site, Onion site, i2p site, does not use any client-side scripts. So this entire site is secure for your computer. That's what they would want you to think. Let's see how somebody should use this password and come back to me in 12 months. Your new password is: we do not store or generate passwords, including this one. Please consider supporting this free service by your hearty donation, our Bitcoin address. Interesting. It has a key for the logo, so you know it's secure. What is this? Oh wait, hold on! Don't load too fast. That's the good thing about i2ps. You can load. Boom, 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 boom. Random block, random block. Don't be not safe for work. Don't be not safe for work. I should think about these things before I load them. Open tracker. Mirror. Memes. Nice. Memes? I hope they're good. Probably not. Anytime you find memes across the Tor network or i2p network, is nice. This is something called Dragon OS. It is a software-defined radio type of. It's meant for like SDRs, software-defined radio. I just got some SDR equipment. I was like, I should check this out. Seems pretty cool. Redshift. Featherpad, grid tracker. So it's like apparently for SDR. SDR++. Multi-mode SD transceiver. QSS STV. I don't know what the fuck. A lot of this stuff. SIG, Digger. The free digital signal analyzer. GNU Radio Companion. Graphical tool for creating signal flow graphs and generating flow graph source code with the GNU Radio framework. Oh, nice. Direwolf. ARPS sound card, TNC. I have never, education and science accessories. Grid tracker. Kismet MagTag, AirSplay ADS, off internet, other. An IMSI catcher. Wow, that's kind of cool. Scan. Nice. You can do like scanning and stuff. I think I have read some. Let's get out of there. Yes, I've read some. You could build like an pretty much like an ISMI catcher, like really cheap. It's not expensive. LTE self scanner. Now I am a SI catcher. I don't know if it's legal or not. Universal radio hacker. What? Open a file or record new signal using the file menu to get started. All your settings will be lost after closing the program. Okay. Generate data. Pauses, fuzzing, simulator? Huh. Not entirely sure. I'll have to dig through that later. We'll just go on the old internet. SDR history. Seven years later. Interesting. Firefox is looking out for my interest. RTL SDR 7 years later. This is in 2019, so we're even farther. Before swearing my feetly to the Jolly Rancher, the fuck, I wrote for several other sites, creating more or less the same sort of content I do now. In fact, so something cringy. Swelling my Jolly Rancher. What the fuck? Who starts off? No one talks like this in real life. Just immediately. I would like immediately leave this type of this. If I just read something like that, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go find another article. One of those which graced the page of this a little more than 7 years ago was getting started with RTL SDR. The original linked article has long since disappeared, and the site was hosted on is now apparently dedicated to Nintendo games. Or you can have the gist of. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Internet Archive exists, man. You could probably like find it. When I wrote that article in 2012, the RTL SDR project and its community were still in their infancy. It took some real digging to find out which TV antennas based on the Realtek RTL 2832 and were supported adapters you needed to connect to more capable antennas. And now, to comply all the software necessary to get them listening outside of their advertised frequency range, it wasn't really the most user-friendly experience, and when it was all said and done, you were left largely up to your own devices. If you didn't know how to create your own receivers in GNU Radio, There wasn't a whole lot you could do rather than eavesdrop on hams or tune into local FM broadcasts. I mean, that's pretty kind of cool. You could, nearly a decade later, they have changed dramatically. The RTL SDR hardware and software has improved. But perhaps more importantly, the success of the project has kicked off something revolutionary in the software-defined radio world. Prior to 2012, SDRs were certainly not unobtainable, but they were considerably more expensive. Back then, most comparable devices in the market would have been FunCube dongle, nearly $200. That's crazy. Receiver was actually designed for receiving data from CubeSats. Anything cheaper than that was likely to be a kit, and often operated within a narrow range of frequencies. Today, we could argue that the RTL SDR receiver is a must-have tool. For the cost of a cheap screwdriver set, true, you can gain access to a world that has not long ago been hardware evolution. Even though the project called it RTL SDR, the Realtek chip, the RTL 2832U chip is in reality just half of the equation. It's a USB demodulator chip that needs to be paired with a tuner function. In the early days, there were a number of different tuners in use. Figure which one you were getting was a pretty big deal. The Electronics E4000 was the most desirable tuner. It has the widest frequency range, but it could be difficult to know ahead of time what you're getting. The packaging and documentation were all but useless. Either manufacturer didn't bother to include the information, or if they did, it would often become outdated as new versions of the product were produced. There were only way to be sure about where you were getting to see if somebody else already purchased that particular model and reported on the findings. Luckily, the tuners were cheap enough that you could buy a couple and experiment. In those days, it wasn't uncommon to find an RTL SDR compatible device that for less than $10 in port sites. Oh, nice. Look at that time. Look at that board. Very cool. Opening up the contemporary receiver, we could see that they're relatively simple affairs. The flimsy plastic case doesn't do much to prevent interface, and Belling Lee connectors is intended for use with traditional TV antennas. Note this is particularly more feature in an IR receiver so that the user could change TV channels with the antenna included remote, a reminder of what this device was actually built for. Nice. Software library. Okay. The gift of inspiration, 40 thoughts. I use the SDR every day. I could scan for clean frequencies to set up in-ear monitors instead of thousands of dollars worth of specialized gear. I can use a $25 dongle. That's crazy. It's 2019, 7 years already. Back then, I was still a university student and experimented with an OSMO, GMR, and Opsimo. Okay. Interesting. Let's see. Hacking satellite with software-defined radio. Ain't got a fucking... got no dark mode, though. Here we go, first. And... This one's killing my eyes. Whatever. There we go. Wow, that was hurting me. Hacking satellites. Unleashing the power of software and environment hacking. Medium. A suit for analyzing and attacking stateful wireless. DARPA software-defined radio, absolutely fantastic DEF CON conference talk regarding. Yeah, I guess like we could look at history of SDR. I guess we could do this, yeah. Software defense. Oh, yeah, we can also look at it. This is what I also wanted to tie into ad hoc networks. We didn't get to really look at the Herculean network and the local Nomad network. Not HashCorp. No one gives a fuck about you. Or was it? Is it RNS? Okay. Yep, this is Nomad Network. Okay. Software-defined radio is a radio communication system where components that could eventually have been implemented in analog hardware, e.g. mixers, filters, amplifiers, modulators, demodulators, and detectors, are instead implemented by the means of software on a computer embedded system. A basic SDR system may consist of a computer equipped with a sound card or other analog to digital converters perceived by some of the RF front end. Significant amounts of signal processing are handed over to the general purpose processor rather than being done at the special purpose hardware. Electronic circuits, such in design production radios, which can receive and transmit widely different radio protocols, sometimes referred to as a waveforms, based solely on the software used. Software radios have been significantly utility for the military and cell phone services, both which must have a server and a wide variety of changing radio protocols in real time. In the long term, software-defined radios are expected by proponents like the Wireless Innovation Forum to become the dominant technology in radio communication. SDRs, along with software-defined antennas, are the enablers of cognitive radio. What is that? CR is a radio that can be programmed and configured dynamically to use the best channels in its vicinity to avoid user interface. More math. Super heterodyne receivers use a FVO, variable frequency oscillator, mixer, and filter to tune the desired signal to common IF intermediate frequencies or basebands. Typically in SDR, the signal is sampled by the analog to digital converter. However, in some applications, it is not necessary to tune the signal to intermediate frequency, and the radio frequency signal is directly sampled by the analog digital converter. This also reminds me of like when we were looking at HDMI cables that just leak information, and pretty much like radio waves that send information unencrypted over the internet that you could take advantage of that you don't even think about. That could be leaking. Could your computer mouse be leaking sensitive information? Real analog to digital converters lack the dynamic range to pick up sub-microvolt nanowatt power radio signals produced by an antenna. Therefore, a low noise amplifier must be preceded the conversation step, and this device introduces its own problems. For example, if spurious signals are present, which is typical, these compete with the desired signals within the amplifier's dynamic range. They may introduce distortion in the desired signals or may block them completely. The standard solution is to put band pass filters between the antenna and the amplifier, but these reduce the radio's flexibility. Real software radios often have 2 or 3 analog channel filters with different bandwidths. They are switched in and out. The flexibility of SDRs allow for dynamic spectrum usage, alleviating the need for statistically assign the scarce spectral resources to a single fixed service. Well, amateur and home use. The RTL SDR is a low-cost SDR receiver based on the Realtek RTL 2832U, a demodulator chip with support for USB output. Originally to be as part of the USB stick that received the DVB-T broadcast, hobbyists discovered in 2010 that the chip could output real-time unprocessed radio signal data to a computer with a custom driver developed by Osmocom Project Osmocom Project. These inexpensive devices were repurposed as a general-purpose SDR receiver. The first repurposed TV dongle RTL SDRs were often sold under $10, but the purpose-built models improved shielding, frequency stability, and performance, sold for around $30 in 2025. RTL devices typically include a Raphael Micro R820T, R820T2, or R860 tuner chip, and can receive frequencies from around 24 to 100 to 1766 megahertz with a bandwidth up to 3.2 megahertz. They support a wide range of applications, including FM and digital radio reception, aircraft data reception. That's kind of cool. ACARS, trunk radio. What's that? ACARS is in aviation. ACARS is a digital data communication system for transmitting short messages between aircraft and ground stations via airband radio or satellite. The prototype was in 1970 and deployed in 1978. Trunked radio decoding, radio scanner, weather satellite, GOES, which is the geostationary operation environmental satellite. Cool. RTL SDR devices typically include a Raphael microchip, tuner, sports, ABS, weather balloon. Oh, nice, weather balloon based. Tracking radio. Sun is a battery-powered telemetry instrument that carried into the atmosphere, usually by weather. Oh, nice. And basic radio astronomy. RTL SDR devices were used to analyze Perseids meteor shower using Graves radar signals. Oh, okay. HP SDR is a high-performance software radar project. Web SDR is a project intended by Peter T-Jerk. I'm not going to say all that. Access via browser to multiple SDRs received worldwide, covering the complete shortwave spectrum. Chirp transmission system using a couple of system receivers. Nice. Kiwi SDR, is also via browser SDR web. Unlike web SDR, its frequency is limited to 3 hertz, 30 megahertz. Other applications, oh nice, so cool. It serves very interesting, and there's probably other cooler, more based applications. Especially look at all the stuff you get to use. Ham radio. Internet, Firefox, Direwolf, SDR Angel, multimode SDR transceiver Jero. So we're going to look at something called a wireless ad hoc network. A wireless ad hoc network, WANET, or a mobile ad hoc network, MANET, is a decentralized type of wireless network. The network is ad hoc because it does not rely on a pre-existing infrastructure, such as routers or wireless access points. Instead, each node participates in routing by forwarding data from other nodes. The determination of which nodes forward data is made by dynamically on the basis of the network connectivity and the routing algorithm in use, such as wireless networks that lack complexities of infrastructure setup and administration, enabling devices to create and join networks on the fly. Each device in a MANET is free to move independently in any direction and will therefore change its links to other devices frequently. Each must forward traffic unrelated to its own use and therefore be a router. The primary challenge in building a MANET is equipping each device to continuously maintain the information required to properly route traffic. This becomes harder as the scale of the MANET increases due to 1. The desire of the route packets to go through every other node, and the percentage of overall traffic needed to maintain real-time routing status. Each node has its own good put to route independence and unaware of other needs. And 4, must all share limited communication bandwidth, such as a silence of radio spectrum. Yeah, I'm assuming that when you have to build these network, like these MANET ad hoc networks, what if you have 15 nodes? And say you have like 15 nodes, and then like y'all break off in like separate directions, and you go from having 15 nodes to like 2 nodes or 3 nodes, and you had the bandwidth of 15 nodes. Like, how does that correlate? Like, how does it continue to operate? Interesting. Such as network, many may operate by themselves or may be connected to the larger internet. They may contain one or multiple or different transceivers between nodes. This results in a highly dynamic autonomous topology. MANETs usually have a routable networking environment on top of a link layer and ad hoc network. A Stanford Research Institute's Packet Radio Van, site of the first three-way interneted worked transmission. This is the kind of vehicle I want to own. Bitches be wanting Ferraris. I want a Stanford Research Institute's Packet Radio Van. The earliest wireless data network was called the PRNet, the Packet Radio Network. And it was sponsored by Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA. In the early 1970s, Bolt, Bernick, and Newman Inc., BBN, and SRI International Design built and experimented with these earliest systems. Experiment included Robert Cahan, Jerry Birchfield, and Ray something. Similar experiments took place in the amateur radio community with the X25 protocol. These early packets radio systems predated the internet and indeed were part of the motivation of the original internet protocol suite. Later, DARPA experiments include the Survivable Radio Network (SURAN) project, which took place. You need milk? Sometimes I wonder why the fuck did I get. But what kind of milk? Boobs? That sounds gross, actually. Which is Nomad Network? How do I access i2p websites? What? You can actually use the Reticulium network via i2p. We will get to the Nomad Network, and you access i2p websites by downloading the i2p bundle. I use i2p Plus. You execute the command, and then you cd into the file, and then you have to execute some Java command. Sorry, I just rewind it again. No, you're good. You pretty much access like via. Where's my terminal? So you would first download i2p Plus, very easy to download, and then that's what I use. i2p, and then this is what it'll open it up when you hit some it's like jar-j something blah blah blah. It's like some JavaScript bullshit. Or Java or JavaScript. Both are the same. I hate both. I don't care what anyone. Fight me on it. I hate both. I hate the word Java. And then you get this. Then you get i2p ping. You get docs, client config, uninstaller, blacklist. You can do a block. Look, you can have a built-in fucking blacklist. Wrapper, web script. You got scripts. You got tons of different. i2p is very configurable. And then, but if you just want to just use it, you run this, but you want to connect it to your browser first. So like Firefox. Like you would take Firefox right here, and then you would go to a config. Like you would config it. You would go to About Config, and then Network Options. And when you go to the About Config and Network Options, that's where you would point to your local address, 127.0.0.1 and then you change something with like proxies in the About Config. I can't remember. You like want to accept proxies. Something that's very cool. I also hate Python. For a very specific reason, because I just opened up a tab and it reminded me why I hate Python. Society. I should do that as an experiment. I should get a laptop with like the lowest specs I can get. And see how far I can use it. I should get like a Like, what's the cheapest laptop? We're going to look at the network and then continue on Ad Hoc Network and then Nomad. Actually, I think XMPP with the 500 mega in get it old ass ThinkPad. Yeah, cheap. I need to look for the cheapest low spec laptop to prove that I can I can. For the cheapest low spec laptops, consider the option of the Asus ZenBook 16-year budget. What is this? How much is this motherfucker? ThinkPads were built for Linux. That's not fair. We need to find something worse. What the fuck are these guys talking about? $1,000. What crack is that? That's why I hate the internet. It's all a lie. Hold on. Yeah, like, why the fuck do websites need to know? There's a website called One Clear Winner. So I found a laptop. I need less than 16 gigs of RAM. 32 gigs of RAM? What the fuck? And it's $300? No. I need less. The Lenovo IdeaPad 3 Chromebook. Come on, we know that that's going to run fine. 8 gigs of RAM. Nope, that's still too much. I would have 4 gigs of RAM. The Asus VivoBook Go Slim laptop, thin portable for students. Intel dual core, 4 gigs of RAM, $150. That's gotta be dog shit. Because Chrome OS is fine. It's based on Gen 2, of course it's gonna. An Acer Chromebook, Intel Celeron, 1.1 gigahertz, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of Flash Chrome OS. God, I'd have to remove that. The Dell Latitude. I mean, it's got to be something. I'll have to dig deep. I think 4 gigs of RAM is pretty fucking low. Good crack. XMP is modern enough. I gotta see. I'll find a laptop with like 4 gigs of RAM, and I think, and like a 1.1 gigahertz is fucking sad. And then I would have to find like a Linux distribution that's like, I mean, Tiny Core would be it, that uses like the lowest resources that I think I've come across, that has a desktop environment. I mean, I think if you can, technically you can, what is it, the lowest Gen 2 resource. Actually, Alpine would be, what's more bloated? Bro, please get an old ThinkPad. Yeah, but they're built for Linux. It's not fair. It's got to be some crackhead like off the shelf. I'm wondering if what uses less resources? Gen 2 or Alpine? Linux. Great content. Thank you, I appreciate it. Alpine Linux generally uses fewer resources than Gentoo, as it's designed to be lightweight and efficient, making a stable resource. So everyone make fun of Billy. That Alpine uses less resources. The most resource-heavy DEs, like KDE and GNOME, use less than 2 gigs of RAM at idle. Wow. So, what is the lowest resource? Man, people are looking up the weirdest shit. Because this is always... We should be using Cyrex, guys. We're gonna go further. Metacyrex.com. Cyrex? Lowest Linux DE resource user. Yeah, that's what we need to know. Damn, this is why I don't use Cyrex. Yeah, this is why we don't use Cyrex, guys. I take it back. Lowest Linux desktop resource. Lowest Linux desktop resource needs. See, this is why I use Brave Search, guys. Brave Search is probably the best. Damn it. The fuck? It's okay. They'll figure it out. The latest desktop environment for Linux based on availability information include Enlightenment LXDE and LTQ. Enlightenment is noted for exceptional lightness and configurability, reported RAM idle as low as 100 megabytes, making the top choice for minimal resources. XLD is recognized for its extremely low resource consumption, very old hardware for systems with less than 5. It reported, oh my god, LX 150 megabytes of RAM. What does LXDE look like? So I could get away with it. I think I can do it, guys. I think I could. See, I lived like Richard Stallman, so I've learned the ways of bloatless. I can have a bloatless system. Yeah, I have a super expensive modern laptop now. Oh wow, the default window manager is used is OpenBox. OpenBox is nice. I did talk shit about it, and I regret it. It was great. The project was started in 2006 by Taiwanese programmer. When he published the PC, and oh nice, cool. He was like, guys, we don't have enough resources. We need to fix that. Their final release was in 2021. What the fuck? Current development. Despite the original team moving to LXQT development, some other developers continue to maintain it on GitHub as March of 2021. There are fresh commits to keep GDK2 version updated July 19. The LX terminal releases beta. Okay. Wow. They abandoned. Okay, so it could. Okay, lot more modern looking. What is the RAM usage? Could I strip down the 4 gigs of RAM and go to like 2? Typically around 450 megabytes. Ooh, God, that's below. I don't know if I can do it. I'm wondering if I could. Not if I could. Of course I could. I'll get a laptop with like a 1.1 gigahertz processor, like Intel Celeron or whatever, and then strip out. If it's like a 2-stick where it's like 4 gigs and 8 gigs, 4 gigs, like 2 gigs. I would strip out 1 gig and go down to 2 gigs. That would be high IQ moment. How to use the modern internet with less resources. Because that's like almost a full gig of RAM right there. Just for that improvement of looking. I wonder, window tiling managers. Lowest window tiling manager resource user. Okay. DWM is known for being the most lightweight tiling managers, focusing on minimal resources. DWM. Did you know that if a Raspberry Pi has a RAM slot? I don't think so. I could do. There are Raspberry Pis that are like 2 gigs. What is that Raspberry Pi? God, it's just not. The thing is, it's not portable enough. Casio OS, we should call it Batshit OS. Homepage looks like AI generated. Casio X is just dog shit. I tried it, dude. I thought I was going to like it, but I did not. I might look into old ThinkPads. I might find if I can find a ThinkPad just feels like it's cheating because they were truly built for Linux in mind. eBay has some ThinkPads, obviously, but like the ThinkPad market is expensive. ThinkPads were built with not only Linux in mind. Look, 16 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of RAM. or Cubes OS. Wow, someone's selling it. Libre boot, core boot, T480 ThinkPad plus Linux or Cubes OS plus Unix plus battery plus charger, $350. Wow, based actually. Cool. Very nice to see Cubes, core boot, ThinkPads fucking selling on eBay for whatever fucking reason. Just install Cubes yourself. Why is this a thing? Why are people selling ThinkPads with Linux on? See, that's what I'm saying, man. All these already have Linux on them. And they already have 16 gigs of RAM. 8 gigs? Okay. Libre boot, Lenovo ThinkPad. It has Libre boot. That's kind of cool. I thought they moved away from Libre boot. I thought it was GNU boot. No. Okay. Are the old... No. God, no. Jesus Christ, no. Hell, no. And they don't have ICE Window desktop option. CachyOS. CachyOS looks like a PSYOP, though. No, I would... No. So you got to remember that these don't get updates with their something called microkernel updates and like firmware updates. That would be god awful to do. This is something that people think that like Linux is more secure, but it's really not. I mean, we could definitely go down that old rabbit hole. I mean, there's and you have to remember if you're not getting patches to your firmware or anything, if your hardware is insecure, then your OS isn't. It doesn't matter what OS you have on there. But it's kind of an afterthought. A lot of people don't update their firmware for their motherboards. And there's motherboard vulnerabilities out there. I was arguing with some retard in the comments saying that security... God, I wish I could show it. There's a massive distance between people that are retarded and are unhelpable. You know, their IQ is beyond reach. And there are people... Like, I've been wrong about stuff, and I'm willing to admit that I've been wrong and be educated on it, which is completely fine. I think it's okay to be wrong. It means you learn. You have a learning experience. You learn. When you learn, you are somewhat admitting you did not know about something. And when you are corrected, you are then learning the correct way. I mean, there are fundamental problems with Linux. Linux has some glaring security issues. It's not homogeneous. They're not homogeneous systems, meaning that developers assume how they should do their security. They assume how they should do this. Everyone has an opinion. Especially Linux people have massive opinions. Each distro implicates their own type of updating. Intel management removed. Yeah, I mean, but the Intel management gets a bad rep, but the intention was it has a security flaw that isn't really fixable. But I think people focus never go full retard. True. I think people over exaggerate from listening to people that work in the field and listening to people that have actually designed secure systems and listening to people that are actually like not like just cosplaying as sysadmins on the internet. Intel management system has a security threat. It has a security problem, but so does your fucking Bluetooth. So does this. So does this. I wouldn't call it spyware because it has an actual use. It's used in IT. It's used in IT infrastructures. Would it be cool if it didn't exist on every platform? Sure. But this is kind of like UPnP. So the Universal Plug and Play has for a long time been quite literally a security issue and nightmare. But people don't want to go and open up their own fucking own ports to game and shit. So I mean, we have trade-offs. There's security and convenience. Convenience-wise, the more secure your system is, the convenience scale goes much lower and lower and lower and lower, because you have to remove stuff. Bluetooth is a security risk. Bluetooth has its own firmware, has its own protocols you need to. It's widely adopted in different ways. On my laptop, I stripped out the webcam and the microphone. Not because I'm schizophrenic or anything, but I like to use external. After using cubes for so long, I prefer to use external items that I can, at my own discretion, turn on and turn off by plugging in and unplugging. Does that mean my laptop is more secure than the guy next to me? No, not really. It's just it was a preference that I thought that met a specific need that I had. But it doesn't mean that my laptop is more secure because I stripped out the microphone and I stripped out the webcam. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. Security is a scale. Everyone's scale is going to be different. And because Linux isn't homogeneous, and I wish I had a disclaimer I could do, be like rant incoming. Because Linux isn't homogeneous, security isn't going to be homogeneous either. I don't like LTSs anymore. LTS, long-term Linux stability releases, in my opinion, don't provide me with the necessary security updates that I think that are necessary. I mean, Medinian's guide, and like some people that have like worked on Unix, like Medinian's guide is actually kind of, security guide is a good reference point because they worked on Unix. And Unix takes kind of, or Kick Secure, I think. Unix or Kick Secure, I can't remember. But they worked on it. And even I think they said that picking Debian for these options were not good. Some people have criticized Tor for picking Firefox when Chrome has better sandboxing, even though Chrome is like just everywhere. But Chrome does have better sandboxing. This is why Graphene OS used Chrome. What is he that you're projecting yourself from? Not in imitating. Just what do you? So mine is no. It's a good question. Really good bad. That's funny. It's not that I'm protecting myself. It's just from a convenience standpoint that this is how I've been running my system since I installed Cubes on my last laptop. So I'm like, what's the point? I have not had a standard microphone or a webcam in my system since I started using Cubes OS. So why start now, kind of thing. And I have no problem with carrying around a webcam and a microphone if I need be. I have no really use for the webcam, so it was kind of like pointless to even have it. Besides using Feather Wallet, if you're doing offline signing with Monero, you do kind of need a webcam, especially a high resolution webcam, to make sure that it can read the send and receive and the signing transactions, etc. So that is something to keep in mind. So if you need a webcam, then absolutely keep it. Just know where you should disable it. If you can disable it at the BIOS level, disable it when you don't need it, put a cover over it, and move on. That's all you need to do. Having hardware switches and all these other things, they're just kind of security theater, from what I've understood and read, that when you go into when people add, they're like, oh guys, look, I added a hardware switch, but it doesn't matter, because like when you software can wait to turn it on, just like software can wait for me to plug my fucking, if I have malware on my computer, it doesn't fucking matter if I have a switch, They'll just wait till I turn my shit back on. This is something that I feel like these fucking retards don't think about. They're like, guys, I have implemented a switch on my camera. Well, the malware on your fucking PC does not give a shit if you just turn it off, unless it's off 24/7 forever. Then you might as well just neuter it, just strip it out. Because when you turn it on, it could just then start activating. Just like you can write code to be agnostic of its environment. It's not impossible. There's code that knows it's in a virtual machine. Like there's malware that is self-aware that I'm in a virtual machine. I'm not going to run, and I'm going to not do anything. And they do this to prevent it being from analyzed. So if you think if malware developers thought of that, you think your software switch can't be fucking figured out? Like, you're just retarded. So I just get triggered when I hear people just bring up hardware switches because they think it's a feature. I don't have to worry. It's pretty much non-existent. But if need be, they would need to compromise then the webcam that is connected through USB, which is definitely possible. Not saying it isn't. This is why CubesOS is great, because CubesOS virtualizes that virtual machine. So if that virtual machine gets in the USB stack gets compromised, it doesn't infect my whole PC. So if my PC is infected, it doesn't matter what software switch or what I remove. It could be waiting until it sees a connection. The connection is there, and then it could compromise my USB, my webcam, take pictures of my feet, and then I'm fucked. You know, that's what it is. But again, mine didn't really come from just a security standpoint. It came from just the fact that I've been fine without it, so I didn't need it. It's a not need. If I can remove it and you have very little use, I don't need it. Like Bluetooth, don't really care. I use wired headphones anyways because I'm superior. I'm better than you. I'm just kidding. And then Wi-Fi, I opted for the less stable and loved open source drivers. Remove the proprietary blobs in my Wi-Fi card, so Wi-Fi doesn't always work. But I hardwire my PC everywhere I go. I carry around a router and hardwire it just because that's what I've been doing. And I can force all my connections through Tor at the router level, and it can kind of be nicer. It can be nicer to get past CAPTCHAs. I don't have to use the Wi-Fi I'm necessarily in the building I'm using. I could spread out to like maybe faster or better Wi-Fi in my surrounding area. It's just it all depends. It depends on my use case. And carrying around a router just makes me look much cooler and much more based. But end rant. I need to get like a rant starting. I need to get a video that like when a rant starts, it just starts playing. It's like rant incoming, or like some shit. But beyond that, yeah, never go full retard. But they said that it's a Western idea that hardware insecurities don't exist. Which router do you use? I use just GeoNet. GeoNet's fine. They use OpenWart, but you could just use. I would love to get the OpenWart router. Oh my god, but it's huge. I would love to get this OpenWrt router. It's expensive and huge. It's this right here. It's like $100. It's $100. I'm being hyperbolic. Let me see. It's very cool. It's by Banana Pie. These people you gotta be careful. Already fucking jacked up that price. What a fucking loser. That's why you gotta be careful when you... I tape my router to my head. That'd be kind of funny. So, this is kind of huge. So this is Matt Brown, he does like hardware hacking. He like opened this up and like looked through it and said it was pretty solid. Look, you're not gonna find it cheap. I mean, for 2 gig Ethernet, Wi-Fi 6, open source, OpenWRT. You could go to these. You can go on AliExpress and find someone sells it cheaper or something. So Banana Pie, all of them. You can't really buy it from them directly, I think. But it's pretty solid. It's solid. It's just huge. Yes, $100 is a fucking lot of money, but if it's open source, I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping on it. You know what I mean? It's open source, so that is maintainable for a long time. And I get $1 coupon code if delayed. $1 coupon. Straight from China. But I clicked on an ad. One clear winner. What a fucking awful website to come up. But I got a small portable fucking router. That's all. They did. They launched it. I think you can get it for 89, as low as $89. But the thing is, if you're buying it from China and you're buying it from all these other places, with tariffs and interest and fucking shipping and gay time, our favorite time, it could definitely increase prices. They're probably, it's whatever. I think $100 is fine. But to answer your question, Bo Jackson, microkernel operating systems is an approach to design an operating system. Micro provides a very fundamental service required to run the OS, like basic memory management, task scheduling. Microkernel uses inter-process communications, IPC. For communication in this article, it's pretty much the kernel mode and user mode of CPU operations. It has a lot of access and resource. You can go down applications, the inter-process communications, memory management, CPU scheduling. This can be compromised. This can be, you will have it in 9 months. I'll have it in 1 month. Get it right, man. The internet never lies to me, and I'll get $1 coupon if it's a day late. Scalability, portability, disadvantages of microkernel. It's slower, more complex, limited performance. There's microkernel. I think it's inside CPUs. Look at microcode. No, disregard what I said. Microkernel. I'm retarded. It's called microcode. I'm retarded. What the fuck? What are you doing? Huh? I've been compromised, guys. Microcode is the processor design. Microservices and infinity layers. That's what it is. Disregard what I said. I'm retarded. It's microcode. And there was one not too long ago. AMD fixes a flaw that allowed it to load malicious microcode. Microcode security flaws are vulnerabilities that are low-level instructions that control the CPU operations, which can allow attackers to execute malicious code or alter the behavior of the processor. Recently, vulnerabilities in an AMD and Intel processors that could compromise data integrity and confidentiality. This is lower. That's just go on random CVE boards and you'll just fucking see this shit. Obviously, there's malice to it. You have to. There's always going to be your system needed to be compromised, or you need to be on this this thing. But minus the rant. Linux isn't homogeneous. Make sure you know what distro you're picking. Fuck LTS. Long-term support sucks. Rolling release is far superior in terms of security and updating because it's quicker. Like OpenSUSE, Fedora, or you can get an immutable, technically an immutable distro, even though it can be turned off. That's another option. Right now, if you want the most secure Linux distribution, there's two. Well, there's three. Android, unironically, Graphene OS. Um, Cubes OS, because it assumes that everything is somewhat hostile and or can be compromised. So it goes from the Zen hypervisor approach, and they also maintain it themselves that prevent it from getting like they maintain it in their own manner and not from the upstream. Who's even writing code this low? Nation state actors, people that just want to write malware. Cubes OS, and then probably the other one would be maybe Secure Blue, because it takes some of the same approaches and fixes that are glaring issues in the security section of, or just Fedora. You can just do Fedora if you want. Atomic Fedora desktops would be probably the better option. A lot of people say FreeBSD, OpenBSD. I mean, there's arguments how they do their approach. OpenBSD is more for server infrastructure, just like FreeBSD, etc. So it's kind of like hard to Alpine Linux. I mean, the intentions of these were to work on servers, not really on desktops. So that's kind of like something to keep in the back of your head. But tons of people. I mean, people write malware for whatever millions of reasons. We're gonna look at the Reticulium network. I'm gonna get some water. I'll be back in a second. Get coffee? Oh God, not this early or late or whatever. No, it sounds terrible. I will be testing Graphene OS's port to Android, the Pixel 10. I do have a test one. Like, I have a Pixel 10 just chilling there, and I was like, wonder if I can get that on there. I like coffee too. Just not. It's acidic, man. Like, it just fucks with me. And it doesn't really keep me. It doesn't really keep me awake. It doesn't do much for me. I will say that someone told me that. I think someone has mentioned to me before that cold brew. If you cold brew it, it goes away. I did the math recently, and I drank approximately 450 to 470 gallons of coffee this year. Oh, nice. That's a interesting. You should do that with like everything though. That's a 475 gallons of coffee this year. How many cups of coffee do you drink for that to come out? Let me see. What is the how many? And is it well? It's kind of let's say 24. Ounces. Let's do gallons. Okay. I drank 136 gallons. Kind of. Like far today, I'm at 2.5 pots of. What the fuck? $10 to $15 cups, bro. Your piss is dark. Oh my god. Your piss has got to be brown, brother. That's insane. 1 gallon a day? Yeah, he's at more than a gallon. He's at like 1.5 gallons a day. 10 to 15 cups? That's crazy. I thought that I drank. What did it say? My pee is always clear, so at least I'm hydrated. No, you don't want it to be clear. You want it to be yellow. You are overhydrated. Clearly, I didn't even drink a coffee a day. Like a gallon a day. I drank like half a gallon a day. No, barely half a gallon. And that, like, I'm just estimating if I drink maybe like 1 or 2 like every like other day. I don't drink it consistently. 1 liter per day. What's a liter? I can't do that. I can't do that math. That's a lot of coffee, man. That's enough there to. You might as well get rid of your car, brother. That's. Really good bad boy is overhydrated, guys. He's too hydrated. He's water fox if it was a real person. 3.75 liters to a gallon. I'm American. Damn British people. What is the, they do their gas in liters. You don't even get you gotta do 3.75 liters to get your gallons. You motherfucking doing liters inside your car. That sounds like damn near goddamn communist shit right there, brother. Oh man, oh Lord, if I ever see a liter in America, I will revolt. If we switch to liters, I will lose it. I swear to God. Do you work in IT? Do you have a degree? No, I don't work in IT. No, I don't have a degree. I have negative IQ, and the only degree that I would ever I would like to get a clown degree, like just a stupid one. Like I want to find the dumbest degree I could get. Like if I ever had fuck you money, I would love to. And don't say gender studies because that's not funny. It's already been thought of. There's got to be dumber degrees than gender studies too, because I know people are like, that's the most useless degree. There's 100% way more useless degrees than gender studies. Like culinary arts is not even really that useless, but you could kind of like work in a kitchen and learn how to cook. Well, not really, actually. Culinary's probably got like its own use. I want to think of there's probably an insanely useless degree out there that is like unfathomable. Like, why would you even? I want to know what is the most useless degree. You can get a degree in dance, teaching English as a second language, foreign language, drama, theater, music studio, fine arts, anthropology, photography, philosophy, travel, internalism, psychology. Psychology? That's crazy. Well, yeah. I mean, no degree is useless, but I want to find the lowest. Anthropology has been reported as having the highest unemployment rate. Yeah, what the fuck is anthropology? Isn't that the where you like look at bones and shit? Yeah. That's where you look at bones and shit. I should get an anthropology. You can consult major corporations on diversity and inclusion for large fees with gender studies. What? Why not? I work with retards all day. You seem really smart and passionate. Oh, you can consult major corporations on... Yeah. Yeah, gender studies actually pays like quite well, I found out. I learned this out of nowhere. That's why when people bring up gender studies, they say it's a useless degree. It's actually not. And it's not even like a high margin. Like it's like a very low rate. It's a very low rate that people even get it. But you can actually make good money in it for like what it's worth. Anthropology, where you look at bones and shit, is fucking crazy. And they say the starting salary is like $25,000 a year. That's insane. Like, I think looking at bones is kind of important. I feel like you have to be smart. I don't know. I just, IT is kind of like, so you know DT, DistroTube, he doesn't work in IT, which is kind of funny. I watched a video where he talks about what his career was, and I'm like, huh. And he kind of has a point. Like, you can get burnt out from the industry. There's a huge amount of tech burnout because these companies are unrealistic and they don't touch, project managers don't touch grass, and companies are unrealistic and they expect you to know. They're like, guys, we found a new stack we need to implement. I know we just put everything on AWS, but there's this new cloud stack that you must learn and migrate to. Have a nice day. Do it by tonight. Thank you. Hi, hi, hi. Yes, I agree. Good, as you should. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember which sitcom. I think it was Ross, or it was Ross from Friends, or it was someone from How I Met Your Mother. Who was the one that was an anthropologist? Was it Friends? And it was just kind of funny. It was funny because they all lived in an apartment somehow, like very expensive New York apartments, and they all had like the most useless jobs. And I mean that like in a nice way. Like, I think Chandler was like the only person that had I'm pretty sure. Yes, Ross. Okay, it was. I'm not tripping. It's like Chandler had the most like fucking corporate normal job, and yet, but none of the rest of them kind of really didn't have like you as you would perceive like high paying jobs. Like Joey was a fucking comedian, I think, and a movie star, which is kind of funny. Ross was an anthropologist. I have no idea what the fuck his sister did. I think she was like a chef, and chefs don't always make the most money. Especially New York can't be fucking cheap. And then like fucking Phoebe, I think she just smoked weed and chilled. I have no idea what she did. I completely forgot. It's completely a blank. And then the other girl, whatever her name is. Everyone thinks she's Phoebe was just she was just like she just did shit. Somehow had a place to stay. That was crazy. I worked trades for a decade, and then I switched to IT. It's a cakewalk, man. I laugh at the corporate complaints my coworkers tell me they would die doing construct. Yeah. The problem is we're in the era where everyone's saying go do trades, which is kind of retarded. I think trades in construction is a need, but the problem is everyone thinks trades are like you're gonna get six figures. It's the easy path to high income. Those people that are touting and telling people to go do trades, they don't either they don't have never worked trades in their entire life. They don't understand supply and demand, and they do not send their kids to trade school. They send their kids to Ivy League school. All the fucking losers do that. Everyone says this about like trucking. Everyone says this about like all these industries where like you can make, 100K. I know restaurants you can make 100K much faster and a third of the work. You can go sell fucking cars and make 100K. You can make 100K in a lot of industries. Your easiest way to make 100K a year is a niche. You find a niche, you be really good at it, and you become employable. A niche that's needed, yeah, that makes me angry. Trades fucking suck. The grifters should go to work. Yeah, seriously. I have friends that work in trades, and some of them work in carpentry, and they make like 40 grand. You know what I mean? It's not as easy as and just go in trades, get us, and everyone's like, oh, work for yourself. You can make a bunch of money, but you're gonna work 70, 80 hours. Yeah, a lot of them. I know a lot of people, a lot of guys that own their own trade, their own company. They're like 80 or 60 or 70, and they're still working not because they want to, because they have to, because they didn't plan for retirement. They're like, oh, I make like $400 an hour or some shit, and you're like, cool. Why the fuck are you still working? Oh, I can't sit at home. I'm bored. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're just lying to me. You're broke. No rational person would be at that. A lot of the people I've seen in trades are like fucking old, and they're terrible with their money too. Like, you could be really, really make a lot of money and bad with your money. I'm not gonna shame people for not being good financially literate. But God, man, when I hear people say they make $100 grand a year and they're broke, you're a fucking you are just bad with your money. If you make, I don't care what anyone says, you can't convince me that you make $100 grand a year and you are broke. You are bad with your money. Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you, man. When people tell, I mean, I'm not. When people say 100 grand a year is not money, they fundamentally don't understand money, and they fundamentally are bad with their money. Those two always correlate. I've never met someone who makes 100 grand a year make less and come back to me and then tell me what 100 grand a year feels like. Like, I don't think people realize I'm self-taught from YouTube and online documentation. It took me like 3 years to surpass my salary from trades work. Now I write SQL in my underwear and I work from home. Yeah, that's based. I hate SQL, but based actually. Yeah, you literally there's so many, I'm not saying trades, like, you can't make money in trade, that you shouldn't do it. If you love working with your hands and you love dealing with fucking people, because you still have to deal with people regardless. People act like trades is like this isolated fucking work. It's like it's more publicly facing because you deal with the public. You have to fix shit. You have to know how to talk to people. You can make good money in trades, but it's like all these fuckers are just like saying go do trades. Eventually, I guarantee it, we're going to have a situation where it will get saturated like coding did or like anything else. But again, like, if you want to go into IT and you want your job to be secure, learn something that no one else wants to learn. Networking! You know what I mean? And like you said, it took you only 3 years to surpass your salary. That's great. I wish a lot of people would take what a lot of people in IT did. They will job hop like no other. They will have resumes longer, big 12-incher of fucking resumes because they job hop. They don't care. They're like, oh, been 3 years, gonna go somewhere else. They're gonna pay me more. That's kind of what it is. I tell everyone that, like, if you want to make more money, just don't do this company loyalty bullshit. Job hop. You'll make more money in a lot of places. You'll make exponentially more money. Learn a skill at your job. Learn the skills at your job that are desirable and not teachable almost. Like where like you sit in front of a computer, teachable. Knowing how to manage people, knowing how to do project management type shit, like being organized, customer service, I guess, stuff like that. Learn those skills. Learn soft skills and apply them, and then find another job and make more money, and then climb the ladder. And then, I've seen it. I've worked a lot of retards that have triple the position of my pay, and I'm like, man, how did this guy get here? I'm like, wait a minute, he job hopped. What am I saying? And they don't care. That's just how companies work. SQL though, based. So we are, now that my life advice section is over, I should figure out how to section off these. Life advice, incoming rant, schizophrenic deep web, and then back to knowledge. The Reticulium network is a cryptographically based network stack for building both local and wide area networks with readily available hardware that can continue to operate under adversary conditions, such as extremely low bandwidth and very high latency. These are kind of like self-healing networks. They're pretty cool because we learned what a wireless ad hoc network is. It's pretty much a way to make it mobile. I gotta go, but cool channel, dude. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate it. Hope you do too. Enjoy your SQL, your underwear, and your Thanksgiving as well. We have mobile ad hoc networks, vehicular ad hoc networks, van nets. Are used for communications between vehicles, roadside equipment, intelligent vehicular ad hoc networks. Smartphone a span leverage existing primarily Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and software protocols in commercially available smartphones to create a peer-to-peer network. Spans differs from traditional hub and spoke networks such as Wi-Fi Direct, and they support multi-hop relays. Apple's iPhone with iOS version 7 and higher is capable of multi-peer ad hoc mesh networking, which is kind of interesting. Wireless meshing networks, Army tactical manettes, By the way, you cannot own these. I think you have to get demilitarized. And then Navy, sensory networks, robotics, disaster response. I mean, there's so many use. There's data monitoring and mining, hospital ad hoc networks, challenges, advances for users, implementation difficulties. These are like things that like people need to understand. There's the protocol stack, the routing, etc. So this is kind of its own thing. It regularly enables the construction of both small and potentially planetary scale networks without any need for hierarchical or bureaucratic structures to control or manage them, while ensuring individuals and communities full sovereignty over their own network segmentations. So this gives it a actual decentralized perspective, meaning that there needs to be no like main operator, no central authority, and it kind of just works. Now the system runs. Regularly can run completely in userland and will run on practically any system that runs Python 3. Regularly runs well even on small single board computers like the Pi Zero. So you could run this on very cheap, low grade hardware. All core protocol features are implemented and functioning, but additions will probably occur as real world use is explored. The API, nice. Is a wire format and considerably complete and stable, but could change if absolutely warranted. What is the RNS offer? Coordinationless, globally unique addressing and identification. So this uses public key and private key cryptography for the user ID. There is something very cool and niche about this product is you can actually take a QR code, write your message, put it into a QR code format, and as long as someone has your public key, you have their public key and their private key so you can exchange messages, you could tape this somewhere, this QR code, they could grab it, read it, and actually read your message. No internet connection needed. No need to be within the same vicinity. And because you have that capability, it increases the, what I would say, the flexibility of this ad hoc network. It makes it much more obtainable when you don't need to be within reach of each other. Say you're in a situation where you can't always be at the same place at the same time. You have a focal point where you put up these QR codes to convert your message until you can start building out your network infrastructure. Or you could give coordinates. You can put coordinates in the QR code to meet at a certain location, etc., etc. Flexible and scalability over heterogeneous topologies. Reculum can carry data over any mixture of physical mediums and topologies. Low bandwidth networks can coexist and interoperate with large high bandwidth networks. It's working on voice, I think. You can send voice over this, which is super fucking cool. Infuriator anonymity, communication without revealing your identity because it doesn't work off like any username or email or phone number. It does not include source addresses on any packets, meaning that it's completely anonymous. It enforces the encryption. Asymmetric X255-190 encryption and ED, I think that's the elliptic curve, 25519 signatures are based for all communications. All foundational Reculum identity keys are all 512-bit elliptic curve key sets based. Forward secrecy is available for all communication types, both single packet and over links. So perfect forward secrecy is something that I think we didn't go over. Which we will. Ephemeral per packet and link keys are derived from the elliptic curve DH. I think that's the Diffie-Hellman key exchange on curve 25519. ASCN CBC mode with PKCS7 padding. Not sure what that is. HMAC using SHA-256 for authentication. IVs are general through OS random. Unforgivable packet delivery confirmations. Flexible and extensible packet interface system. Reculum includes a large variety of built-in interface types. Ability to load, utilize customer, user, or community-supplied interface types. Easy to create your own custom interface for communication over anything. Authentication and virtual network segmentation on all supported interface types. And intuitive and easy to use API. Simpler and easy easy to simpler and easier than use sockets API and simpler but more powerful. Make building distributed and decentralized applications much simpler, reliable, and efficient transfer of arbitrary amounts of data. Regulum can handle a few bytes of data or files of many as gigabytes. So this is something that makes it kind of separate from Meshtastic. Meshtastic has a LoRa issue, meaning that because it works over LoRa has a packet issue of a certain amount of data that can be fit into that stream. It has a bandwidth limitations, and this is why I think voice will never work over it. RNS, obviously you can't do this on the, you might not be able to do this on like the portable Nomad like networks that you make out of like LoRa devices that are more portable, but you can put this quite literally on anything. It is a very adversarial ad hoc network, meaning it has streams of different types of formats that interfaces it can use. So you can use like big mesh access points that can carry gigs of like data over it due to its bandwidth limitations. I can't remember the name. The guy with the Swiss accent. The guy with the Swiss accent, he has exposed this, that he's taken two mesh devices point to point and has made a connection over a good amount of distance. Bluetooth has an extremely long distance. It's not like 300 meters. They have a really good Matrix channel that you can join. I believe Matrix, they might be somewhere else, where they share a lot of really good information. And I found an article I was reading about Bluetooth's limitation isn't as small as you get it. I mean, you can literally use Bluetooth to go as far as you want. It's more complicated than people make it out to be, and has a lot more ability than actually thought of. Total cost of setting up an encrypted and verified link is only 3 packets, totaling 297 bytes. Low cost of keeping links open only at 44 bits per second. Reliable sequence delivery with channel buffer mechanisms. Ether efficient link establishment, lightweight flexibility, expandable request response mechanism. The API is ready to use. Interface type of devices. You can use any Ethernet device, Wi-Fi devices, wired Ethernet devices, fiber optic transceivers, data radios with Ethernet ports, LoRa using R-Node, which we'll get into in a second. R-Node is kind of cool. Can be installed on many popular LoRa boards. Can be purchased as a ready-to-use transceiver. There was something called Open Modem. Oh my god, this fucking project is dead. R.I.P. Wish that did not happen. You could have bought this. Super pissed. But I think it shows you like how to build it yourself. Such a cool idea. Imagine having this in like a decentralized. This is Unsigned.io. Excellent website. R-Node is an open, free, unrestricted digital radio transceiver that enables anyone to send and receive any kind of data over both short and very long distance. They can be used with different types of programs and systems, but they are especially well suited to use with the cryptographic network. This, what we're talking about. One tool, many uses. Secure messaging using as a network adapter for Requiem. Side messaging using sideband. Information sharing and communications using Nomad Network. LoRa-based KISS compatibility, amateur radio, TNC, which is, I forget what TNC stands for. LoRa development board platform, packet sniffer for LoRa networks, long-range Ethernet and IP network interface on Linux, and a general-purpose long-range data radio. These are cool to build. They give you like the ability to be as free as possible. The shop is kind of discontinued. They might come back. I think it's still being actively developed though. It's very cool. Ideal for VHF and UHF radios, any device with a serial port. The i2p network, by the way, TPC over IP networks, UDP over IP networks, anything you can connect via Studio. I might even set up my own digital ID on Nomad and see if I could test it out with some people. I'll figure it out. To create custom hardware support interface. Here they have a whole chapter for support interfaces. Caveat emptor recommends an experimental network stack and should be considered as such. While it has been built with cryptography-based practices varying foremost in mind, it has not yet been externally security audited. There could be very well privacy-breaking bugs, and to be considered secure, Requiem needs thorough security review, independent cryptographers, and security researchers. If you want to help with this, I hope if somebody could put more funding into this and make it where they can get a security audit, or if someone's willing to do it, that'd be awesome. Nomad Network. It's cool. It's a very cool program. It's all terminal based. I would like to. The thing is, you have to have a radio to do this, I think. Hasn't been updated in about 3 weeks. Just kidding. Off-grid resilient mesh communications with strong encryption, forward secrecy, and extreme privacy. So first, let's just look at a quick understanding of perfect forward secrecy. Is a security feature in cryptography that ensures the session keys used for encrypting data cannot be compromised. Even if the long-term keys are later exposed, that means the past communications remain secure, protecting them from future attacks in the long-term keys. Easy to understand. Previous keys compromised, protect the past keys for future compromises. Decrypt. I think it's pretty much. We can look at an overview. Forward secrecy, also known as perfect forward secrecy, is a feature of specific key arrangement protocols that gives assurance that session keys will not be compromised even if long-term secrets used in the session key exchange are compromised, limiting damage. For TLS, the long-term secret is typically the private key of a server. Forward secrecy protects that past session against future compromise of keys or passwords by generating a unique session key for every session a user initiates. The compromise of a signal session key will not affect any data other than exchange in the specific session protected by the particular key. This by itself is not sufficient for forward secrecy, which additionally requires that long-term secret compromise does not affect the security of past session keys. They can't go back and decrypt all your messages. Forward secrecy protects data on the transport layer of the network, uses common transport, history, the value, attacks. Weak perfect forward secrecy is the weaker property of whereby when agents' long-term keys are compromised, the secrecy of previous established session keys is guaranteed, but only for our sessions with the adversary protocols uses other stuff. Definitely cool, hard to go down. Nomad Network and extreme privacy. The Nomad Network allows you to build a private, resilient communications platform that are complete control and ownership of the people that use them. No signups, no agreements, no handover of any data, no permissions, no gatekeepers. Nomad Network is built on the LXMF and Requiem, which together provides the cryptographic mesh functionality and peer-to-peer messaging routing that Nomad Network relies on. The foundation also makes it possible to use the program over a variety of communication mediums, from packet radio to fiber optics. Now, you could obviously do this over the regular internet or i2p, which is what I'm going to experiment with. So maybe at some time in the future, or maybe in the next couple like weeks or so, I will set up 2 different mediums for people to reach me on the Nomad Network, exchange some messages, and see how good it is. Encrypted messages over packet radio, LoRa, Wi-Fi, or anything else Requiem supports. Zero configuration, minimal infrastructure mesh communication. Distributed and encrypted messages stores, holds messages for offline users, meaning that you don't have to have an internet connection. You could even have, I think it even offers save now, send later kind of configuration. So the easiest way to install Nomad Network is via pip. Pip doesn't fucking work apparently. With me, I got to figure that out. Run the Nomad client, Damium, and options. If you're using an operating system that blocks normal user packet installation via pip, you can return pip to normal behavior by adding the config pip config file and adding the file directive. Break system package true. Alternatively, you can use the pip x2 to install manually in an isolated environment. Pip pipx install nomadnet, pipx install RNS, lxmf, nomadnet. Damien. Please note, if this is the very first time you're using pip to install the program, your system might need to reboot after your system. No, but you might get a command not found or blah, blah, blah. To use Nomad Network on Packet Radio or LoRa, you will need to configure your Requiem installation to use any relevant Packet Radio TNCs or LoRa devices on your system. This is in the documentation for info and your general introduction how to set the system. Take a look at this post. Private, secure, uncensorable messaging over LoRa. This is why it's cool, because you can do this with your... Yo, is that a Samsung 8? If you want to try Nomad without building your own physical network, you can connect to the unsigned RNS testnet over the internet, where there's already some Nomad network and all activity. If you connect to the testnet, you can leave Nomad Net running for a while and wait for it to receive announcements from other nodes. You have to announce your nodes. It's kind of cool. Like, so I got to test this on Sideband a while ago. You can announce your nodes so other people can find it, like, within the vicinity of you. Very cool technology. Very exciting, honestly. Okay. Where are you? There you go. All right. So there's the testnet nodes and then the Frankfurt hub testnet node. To browse pages on a node that is not currently known, open the URL dialog in the network section of the program by pressing Ctrl-U. Install on Android. You can install Nomad Network on Android using tmux, but there's a few more commands involved than above one-liner. The process document Android installation section of the recommended manual. You can run that. You could just use Sideband. Sideband's pretty cool. Let's see. I think. Oh, there's a Nomad Network is a very flexible, extensible platform. A variety of community-provided tools, utilities, and node-side extensions exist. Micron blog. This is an experimental node physically located in the Eden Hood of Carmel Mountain Range in the North Israel. Wow, you can even host your own blog from there. any 2 micron converters, some Nomad net-based message board. Message boards are kind of cool, especially if they were, when was this, like 2 years ago. You gotta be careful with this stuff. Asia can submit messages to the message board by initiating chat with message board peer. They are assigned a username based on the 5 characters of their address and then their message directly. So that's essentially what that is in a topology perspective. And it's kind of cool. There's motivation, there's goals, fully usable as open source software stack. There's lots of information that you can kind of like absorb in this kind of like standard network. And it's cool to have these kind of things because the main problem is, are they as reliable? Well, the first, what is the problem that you're trying to solve? I want to be able to communicate with people around me in a license-free, in a sovereign type of way. Ham radio and GSMR is a good tool. It's okay if they ask for a license. It's whatever. I've heard arguments against the license, and I kind of understand that some people have philosophical ideas of why you shouldn't, license is like, free men don't ask kind of mentality. But the difference is, if you are operating a ham radio license in a space where emergency communications are also easy to accidentally cross paths and cause issues, what happens? You essentially could cause damage, etc., whatever. So the FCC is like, hey, for you to be a ham radio operator, you need a license. Some people don't want to have a license. So there are I think if there are options out there, that it's completely fine. And I look at it as just an alternative tool because these ad hoc networks give you such a free range use of other tools available that could be better than ham radio in certain scenarios than actual ham radio. But versus where ham radio has its place, if you want to get your license, if you don't care about the privacy considerations, because and the licensing problem, I would say get your ham radio operator's license and work with it, like learn how it works, use it, and have it as a tool. Because it's got a good community, it's got good people that are in there, like they're really cool people that are in the ham radio space, and you can learn a lot, especially like how radio works in general. Like it's a very educational type of community, and it's cool. It's very based. I'm not against ham radio. I'm not against their licensing. Really, I don't really care personally. But for the people that do care and they want to maintain high level anonymity, they don't have to get a license. They don't have to have their name in a database. They don't have to deal with the FCC. They don't got to blah blah blah. RNS, Meshtastic, and are kind of like the best options you have in like the Nomad network, because it allows you to be license free and as anonymous as possible. But you should never rely on this for absolute secrecy or security until it has been thoroughly audited and kind of like tested. This is why Signal is highly regarded, because it's been tested. It's been tested in court, and it may have one glaring issue, which is the number. But again, you're not required to get a number with, at least in Freedom Unitville, America, you don't necessarily have to get. You don't have to get a number that requires any form of ID. You can just go get a prepaid SIM card, and it doesn't matter if they have that number. I mean, as long as you use that number nowhere else, as long as you don't use that number to correlate your identity, it doesn't really matter if they have a number. If they have that number and you have to give it out, you can give out usernames anyways, and it's better to use encrypted communications than it is not. It's always going to be a better option. And that's just kind of like my perspective. Very cool. We're gonna dig deeper into more radio stuff, more i2p stuff. Maybe if I can get this Nomad set up at some point, I could do some messaging over i2p. That'd be kind of based, kind of cool. I hate Python a lot. I appreciate everyone joining from the stream for the stream. Definitely enjoy your Thanksgiving later with your family, and most importantly, don't forget to take your popsicle sticks out for a walk today because they probably get cold. And I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to like the comment section and subscribe to the like button and like the subscribe button. Argue in the comments what is your favorite free and open source recipe manager. Thank you. Appreciate it. You all have a good night.